and back on this beautiful day. Welcome, my Litecoin family, my YouTube family. I hope you guys are doing great out there. Cheers. I hope your Monday is going excellent. There is some crazy stuff going in the charts, kind of just what I thought it was going to happen. Well, let's just jump right into the charts, you guys, today. The news, if you guys don't want to check out news, check out my webpage, litecoinlawton.com. I will link it down in the description. Like, subscribe. I hope you guys, I do this for you. Nobody pays me to do this. Litecoin is decentralized and I can do what I want to do. So hope you guys are having a beautiful night. Litecoin, this is actually Bitcoin on the weekly right now. And these are kind of some of the things I wanted to show you guys real quick. I'm going to zoom out. All right. And I kind of basically what I did was I drew these like descending triangles and I extended the line down. And don't mind the brontosaurus. It was just I leave it there for a reminder that the brontosaurus is going to come back out, you guys. So anyways, the descending triangle, I just basically extended the line, and you guys can notice that this point right here, wherever Bitcoin breaks this chart, is actually this amazing buying opportunity. Okay, whenever it breaks the chart, and it retests it, it creates this like this chart didn't really have a descending triangle. I was trying to find one. It was more of like a double top here, and then I saw this double top form and the RSI and everything. I actually played this pretty good, but this is basically this descending triangle. If I zoom in, this is where I started. Not when I got into Bitcoin, but I actually played this like tremendously well. You guys would have been really proud of me on this. This trade was a pretty amazing trade for me because it was a descending triangle, right? And, and then it broke up. And when it broke up, I was like, oh man, this thing's going to rip. So, and it kind of just fooled everybody because everybody was used to these like descending triangles, and the traders were like, oh, we're going to take it up instead. So, it was pretty easy to call that actually. And so I actually did pretty good on that move right there. So what are we at right now on Bitcoin? I mean, I thought we were having a breakout here, but clearly, I mean, the Lux algo still has you green. So us holding this level is actually pretty amazing. The next couple days is super critical. I just really wanted to get it out there, you guys, especially on the broader stock market right now. Like this level, I want to zoom in on this just because I want you guys to see this, because the SPY was breaking out. And no matter how you feel about the general stock market and cryptos, it still shares a really similar correlation. And traders like to play crypto and Bitcoin like a glorified leveraged tech position. That's kind of how Bitcoin is viewed in the broader traditional traders. I do believe that at one point in time, there's going to be a non-correlation. So we're going to have Bitcoin's going to go its own way and the stock market's going to go its own way. And there will be this disconnect from both these asset classes, and that's what I do believe. I always thought that Bitcoin could have start to break the correlation here soon. So what I'm seeing right now is that the next couple days, I would say the next week, probably these meetings with the Fed and stuff, I think that's going to play out here, and it's either going to take off up and we're going to have this confirmation of this like long-term trend line, or it's going to break down through this. And then if, this is what I would be worried about. I was showing you guys this kind of this like head and shoulders formation. If it actually breaks down through here, and this is the S&P 500, you guys, this is what I'm looking at. So not the NASDAQ, but the Dow Jones, but just the regular SPY right now. So if the SPY actually breaks down back into this longer term, I'll zoom out here for you guys. If it breaks down into this wedge again, I would say that's a very bad thing for the regular stock market. This thing could literally like, come all the way down here, have a couple of retests. If it actually bounces back and hits this thing, so like I'm zooming in again, if it actually bounces back and hits and bumps its head on this thing, it's ridiculously bad. So this is a confirmation basically of this head and shoulders pattern. And I'm zooming in pretty far, you guys. Like I'm on the 1 hour just to see what's going on right now because this level is pretty critical. So this is something that just to kind of I'm keeping an eye on. Also, I wanted to touch base, you guys. If you guys don't have your cryptos on a hardware wallet, please get a hardware wallet. There's just some crazy stuff going on. Genesis is falling. We've had FTX and Three Arrows, and we've had a bunch of exchanges going down. Now Robinhood has actual wallets. So I'm sketchy of everything. You guys, please get your stuff on hardware wallets. It shouldn't have to be, it shouldn't be a crazy thing. What do we think that, our CBD is the future of money, you guys? What's going on with this whole situation? What do you think is going to happen? And what I think is going to happen, okay? I'll just share some, we're going to go back on, we're going to go to the Litecoin chart, okay? And I'm actually zoomed in pretty close. But what I think is going to happen, you guys, is I think that USDC, I mean, Tether's been buying a bunch of government bonds, right? So Tether is buying bonds to help offset or try to keep its peg to the US dollar, right? So it would make sense that like a stable coin would buy US bonds or treasuries to peg their digital currency to the dollar. And so as other countries don't buy their, our dollars for petrodollars, right? So like, the petrodollar is being questioned right now in a global sense. So as this happens, there's going to be less demand for treasuries and bonds from the US government. And so those bonds are going to have to flow somewhere. So crypto could be the salvation for the broader like problem of people not buying US treasuries, right? And Japan's dumping treasuries right now. So somebody's buying those and it's coming back here, right? So, cryptos, I think USDC, because it's more of like, I think Tether's more of like a bunch of IOUs, and maybe they're shoring up their debt. And so far they've maintained a peg. So far so good, but I still feel like there's like 4 employees at Tether. I don't know, maybe they've gotten a few more people, but they're managing a lot of money right now. So it's crazy that and maybe they have other stuff they're investing in, like real estate or other stuff that's losing value. And who really knows exactly the true peg of Tether, right? And that's always been kind of the thing in cryptos, is like Tether's always been thought of as it's kind of the black swan. That's, we all know that it's like just a bunch of IOUs and funny money, but it's maintains its dominance, right? So I personally think that USDC, you guys, is going to be the one that's chosen by the government to see. I think that's what it's already out there. It's a US dollar peg. It's a stable coin. They could do something, it's already a link to Bitcoin. It already has everything that we need to maintain the global market support. They just need to like make a deal with USDC that says, hey, you're gonna buy all the bonds, you're gonna be the bank, and you're gonna buy the bonds, and we're gonna give you federal treasury notes or whatever. The USDC company's gonna hold a bunch of Federal Reserve notes, right? In so for dollars or digital dollars. Those just kind of switch around. I think that USDC has the best chance of being the one. Tether is we'll see what happens with Tether. Maybe the Tether and USDC, they'll make a deal with USDC and Tether and just combine those two stable coins into like one super USD, central bank CBDC, right? and that'll be the US dollar. And that will be the new future of the US dollar. Maybe that's the case. I personally have argued that, it would make us stronger if we pegged our dollar to Bitcoin, which would be crazy because then Bitcoin, in as far as US dollars terms, would just plateau, right? Like gold, right? Like, do you imagine, like, look at this thing. Like, so in gold's life, right? Let's go back to gold, because like if the US dollar was at one point pegged to gold, right? So look at this time, 40 years, okay? Look at this time. So if the US dollar is pegged to Bitcoin, then technically would Bitcoin go through this like 40 years, right? Until, this is what I have circled, you guys. This was the 40 years of 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 pegging to gold. Okay, so gold didn't move. U.S. dollar was pegged to gold, so it didn't. Everything, it just plateaued, right? So would Bitcoin just plateau if the U.S. dollar was pegged to Bitcoin? Interesting concept. Maybe we could view things in Satoshis. How are we going to view money? Is a very interesting thing, because it's how much we really just want to buy our coffee, right? In the morning, you guys. I don't know about you, if you guys are coffee drinkers or not, but I need to know how much US dollars to pay for my coffee in the morning. And I don't know how many Satoshis that is worth, right? And so we have to figure that out. And there's going to be this point where there's going to be a paradox and a shift, right? A shift into either an understanding of the dollar in its new form, or it possibly is like, the dollar in terms of Satoshis, right? And so like that would be more of like a closer thing. So like instead of Bitcoin, it could adopt which would be basically Bitcoin. Somehow it would peg it to Satoshis, and you could have Satoshis worth. I don't know how it's going to exactly work. Maybe they could just, or it'd be a combination of reserve. But there needs to be a history, and so like the biggest argument against Bitcoin, which I have to acknowledge basically at this point, is that there's a history of gold, right? There's a history of gold and silver. So that's why I have some gold and silver, you guys. I think that, you know, money that's, I love the concept of gold and silver. Anybody that loves gold and silver should love Bitcoin, because it was modeled after gold and silver. And, we're having this kind of a rejection right now. So anyways, I can rant. I'll rant later, you guys. I'll go and get in some charting for you. Litecoin right now is kind of forming this symmetrical wedge, or this symmetrical triangle. I mean, I do believe that it's going to have us break down to like 82. We could break out. Like there is a possibility, and I wanted to show you that, like, in this broader sense. I'll zoom out here for you. I think Litecoin's forming this rising wedge. But if it actually breaks out, like let's just say it breaks up, okay? Let's just be positive here. Let's say here's the bullish scenario. If this thing actually breaks up, okay, it's basically bucking a bear trend, okay? And when something bucks the formation, this is like a 30% chance of breaking up, but it actually breaks up, then it's ridiculously bullish, okay? And the first hurdle for Litecoin right now is obviously that $100 mark. You guys, there's a lot of like macro convergence on that $100 psychological mark right now. And so it could very easily break up if it breaks past $100. So $100 will make me a believer, basically, that Litecoin's having and holding like at least a day over $100 would start making me a believer. So, I would probably do 2 days unless this thing's just like ripping face, which it's probably going to happen. Like if it actually is breaking up here, it'll rip up, because everybody's expecting this, right? Everybody's expecting this. This is like it's like a 65-70% chance of breaking down right here. So long term, I'm super bullish. Short term, obviously I'm bearish. But if it actually breaks up, dude, I am going to, it'll be an impressive run. And this is kind of that, this is the halving, you guys. So if the Fed comes out this week and this moment that the regular stock market is sitting at this like pretty critical stage right now. And then the other thing you guys got to look at, I didn't look at this in the last video, and I really wanted to go over this, but the DXY, you guys, this is like a formation that I'm been charting on the DXY here, and we're actually starting to break up. Like this is on the daily, and the Lux algo still has you like red, but if you start zooming in on this thing, this has got a strong buy. So like, you know, this is what happened last time. It was a like kind of a false breakout here of this wedge right here, but this is the dollar, you guys, and it's actually starting to break up here. And this is one of those things that this formation has the majority of the time is a bullish formation, which seems weird that it's like, going down, but it's actually a bullish formation. And then when this thing pops, right, it actually pops and the target is way up here. So this is like, everything else is going to be crashing while the dollar pumps here. So are we going to have I would say the next couple of days, you guys, is going to be really critical because we're watching this dollar increase its strength, and we'll see if, Bitcoin, if the Bitcoin's having the sell, right? So we're having a sell on Bitcoin right now on the 4-hour. And that's what's, concerning. So we're on the DXY, we're having a buy right now, and the Bitcoin, we're having a sell. So Litecoin is, is in this kind of this sell right now too. It's in this pretty critical zone. And we're also having this like macro cross, at least this is on the MACD, you guys. I'm going to go out to the daily here, and we are having this cross, you guys. And also on Bitcoin, we're having a pretty strong one here. So on the MACD, this is actually a really good indicator to buy and sell on, you guys, as well, especially when it gets really low and really high. And we're kind of high right now. Like we're not that high, but it's still like, this is a sell, right, on the daily. Okay. And so be careful right now, you guys. I think that short term, there's a lot of like crazy stuff in the world. If you guys can, scoop up Bitcoin, I think anywhere under $20,000, you're going to look back and there could be this short period of time where it's below 20,000, but if it goes below 20,000, you guys, and goes and fills some gaps and down there, I would start nibbling, right? Right. And then I have some pretty big orders at like 10,000. So this is like the worst case scenario on Bitcoin, you guys, like, and the rest of the market's basically going to follow Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the daddy, right? So like all these other coins are going to follow Bitcoin. But I do have an order down here, like 10,500. I just put it in between there, somewhere in that range. I think that's amazing, would be amazing buy opportunity. Satoshi Nakamoto, you guys, said that the price of any asset tends to gravitate towards the cost that it takes to manufacture it. And right now, globally speaking, I did this research earlier, but globally speaking, the average cost of Bitcoin is like $10,000, you guys, or something. It's like something like $10,000 for the energy consumption right now. So we're at 22,000. In the life of Bitcoin, it's always kind of tapped that cost of production to kind of like shake out all the miners, and so we are getting this buy on the hash ribbons, but we're getting these like on Bitcoin, we're getting this like bearish divergence. We're getting this like bearish divergence here, you guys, as well. So and also the RSI is pretty high still, so we're still pretty overbought. There's a lot of indicators that are pointing that we're going to have a little bit of a pullback here. If by chance that the meeting this week and some of the positive things happen, and we have really good news, and the Fed's like, you know what, we're just gonna come out and we're gonna do only a 25% basis hike, and or if they don't do any basis hike at all, right? Like if they do something crazy, like don't even hike any rates at all, dude, we're gonna see some fireworks. Okay. So ETH, I just wanted to bring that to you guys. I've gone on a little bit long tonight. ETH is still breaking out, so we could have this retest still and still be bullish of like, call it, 1100. If it actually goes down to like 1,000, that would be basically we're breaking back into this formation, which would be also a bad thing. The SPY again, you guys, the broader stock market. I really want to see this level that we're at right now hold, you guys. And this is pretty important. Like this thing needs to hold right here. If it doesn't hold, then we're going to break back into this, and then it's possible that we're going to use it as it's going to be start being resistance, and that's what we don't want to see. So let's just hope for the SPY to break out here, and then that'll basically lead the charge for cryptos and all other asset classes. Beware of the pullback here though, because the dollar is actually starting to break out, you guys. So honestly, I'm leaning towards the bearish side at this point in time, based on the strength of the dollar, and the strong buy. I think this thing's been coiled up right now. This is like a coiled spring, you guys. The dollar's on like a coiled spring right now, and I could see a nice little pop here, up to like it's 104. So I would expect a broader pullback. Probably Bitcoin will probably easily go under 20,000 again. This range is a really dangerous range to start getting involved in. And so I'm not doing anything right here until we get confirmation of this move. Looking at the regular stock market, and also this critical line basically that we're at on Bitcoin too. If it breaks back in here like the next couple days, then you can probably expect some continuous bear trend right here. I do believe in cryptos, you guys. It is the future. Like I do think that crypto and Bitcoin and Litecoin, and there's a bunch of other coins, you guys. If you guys want to see my watch list, maybe I'll post my watch list. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. Anyways, this video has gone on long enough. I hope everybody's doing great out there. Litecoin, I would expect maybe a little bit more of a choppy sideways for the next couple days. And then, around Wednesday, Thursday, we're probably going to break down, at least test this like 82. We might even go, 80 to 82, probably this range in here. And then, this is actually going to be a critical area right here. This, if it starts testing this trend line, you guys, anywhere, I will, I'll be here with you guys on this ride. I love Litecoin. I do believe in the long term, we're going to be breaking out, you guys. I'll go over to the weekly on this. I do think, we might have this retest. It'd be crazy. I think there is a possibility, like, honestly, there is a possibility that we break up here out of this wedge. It would be pretty crazy. If we do break this, it's going to be a really crazy ride, you guys. So beware of this top trend line too, because if it starts breaking up here, then Litecoin could easily, easily come up to this, it could even, it could come up to this $300 mark. Honestly, like, I said it was only going to be maybe like go up to the 200 like lately, but if it actually breaks up, my previous prediction was 200, but if it actually breaks up here, out of this rising wedge, it might even come up to this like 300 mark before getting a pullback all the way back, basically back down to this $80 range, which would be crazy. I do think it's gonna like do this thing where it comes back down here, and then we're just gonna come break out, you guys. So maybe not exactly like that, but you guys get the idea. I'm super bullish, long term too. I mean, Litecoin Bitcoin chart, this thing's breaking out, you guys. Like, look at this thing. This thing is breaking out. Like, I'm stoked about this chart. Like, this means that Bitcoin Bitcoin's we're breaking out right here. And my final target right here is 2% of a Bitcoin. So like once Litecoin hits 2% of a Bitcoin, I might switch some Litecoin to Bitcoin, right? So that's how you play the charts, like the gold to silver ratio. Right now you should be buying silver, not gold. And then when it goes to 15 to 1, start selling some silver to buy gold if you believe in gold and you think that that's a good move. It's also, better store like of space and things. If you want to go back into gold, then go back into that point. Same thing with Litecoin, Bitcoin. You're in Litecoin until it hits 2% of a Bitcoin. It hits 2% of a Bitcoin. I mean, maybe not even 2%. Maybe you would start taking switching to Bitcoin around like that 1.5% level. So we'll see. Like that's the play though. Like that would be a smart play. And then that's how you play this ratio. So a lot of things to be looking at. I'm super excited, you guys. We are at a critical point in the DXY and the broader stock market and for Bitcoin, Litecoin. I wanted to get it out there. Be careful, you guys. Don't enter a trade until it's confirmed. Lawton